Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Girivaranari Gopi Jana Jaya Gopi Jana Girivaranari Joda Jaya Rama Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Radha Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gaura Dita, Gaura Dita, Gaura Dita, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Hari Bo, Detai Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Detai Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Devo Vishnupada Brahmachakrishti is given days Agar Chana Bhakti and Samshla Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON Devotee Samstapa Krishna Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramasubhari and Prabhupada is given days Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Purusha Prabhupada ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री राधर शिवसारी गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम मधुरा धाम की मायापुर धाम नवदीप धाम की कुरुक्षेत्र क्षेत्र जगन्नाथ पुरी धाम की गंगा माई यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की सामवेद भक्ति वृंद की श्री प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की कलियुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories all glories Shri Guru Govinda all glories Shri Prabhupada ki jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You want to display something too?
Yeah.
Good. Table line.
Yeah, we can go that side. Yeah.
HDMI. Does it have HDMI?
Yeah. Anything? Okay. MC? Yes. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 2. First, I will read the individual words. Then we'll recite the verse together. And then we will read the translation of it. Jnanam
Jnanam.
te aham sa vijnanam idam vakshyami asheshatah yat jnatva na iha bhuya anyat jnatavyam avishyate. Jnanam teham savijnanam.
Jnanam teham savijnanam.
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
Jnatvo nega bhuyonya.
Yajñātvā neham bhūyonya.
Yantavyam avashishyate.
Yantavyam avishyate.
Jnanam teham savijnanam.
Jnanam teham savijnanam.
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
Jnatva nega bhuyonya.
Yajñātvā neham bhūyonya.
Yantavyam avashishyate.
Yantavyam avishyate.
Jnanam teham savijnanam.
Jnanam teham savijnanam.
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
Nega bhuyonya.
Yajñātvā neham bhūyonya.
Yantavyam avashishyate.
Yantavyam avishyate. Jnanam teham savijnanam.
Jnanam teham savijnanam.
Idam vakshyami asheshata.
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
Yajñātvā neha bhūyonya.
Yantavyam bhuyonya.
Jnanatvam avishyate.
Yantavyam avashishyate.
Jnanam teham savijnanam
Jnanam teham savijnanam.
vakshyami sheshatah
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
yajñātvā neha bhuyonya
Yantavyam bhuyonya.
yatam avashishyate
Yantavyam avashishyate. Mataji.
Jnanam teham savijnanam
Jnanam teham savijnanam.
idam vakshyamasheshatah
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
yajñātvā neham bhuyonya
Yajñātvā nega bhuyonya.
Jnātvāyam avishyate
Yantavyam avashishyate.
Jnanam teham savijnanam
Yantavyam savijnanam.
idam vakshyami asheshatah
Idam vakshyami asheshataha.
yajñātvā neham bhuyonya
Yajñātvā nega bhuyonya.
yam avashishyate
Yantavyam avashishyate. Jnanam.
Jnanam.
Phenomenal knowledge.
Phenomenal knowledge.
Te unto you. Aham. I serve with Vijnanam. Luminous knowledge. Idam. This Vakshyami. Shall explain. Asheshataha. In full. Yat. Which. Jnatva. Knowing. Not. Iga. In this world. Bhuyaha. Further. And yet. Anything more. Jnatavyam. Knowable. Avashishyate. Remains. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Again, I'll read. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Purport. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. This is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above mentioned system of knowledge Because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of the fourth chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord. And it is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in disciplic succession directly from the Lord. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes, and the only object for meditation in all types of yoga practice. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known and nothing remains unknown. The Vedas, Mundaka Upanishad 1.1.3 say, Kasmin yu bhagavo vinyate sarvam idam vinyatvam vinyatam bhavatiti. Again, I will read the translation. I shall now declare unto you declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and luminous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandegam Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagagana Ragnatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sargaitam Savadutam Parajanasagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pradan Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Vacha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vedacha Patitana Pavane Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahapadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauritushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tata Kanchana Gaurani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Sunday program, Sunday evening program. We are actually reading today's Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Prabhuji asked me to talk about the importance of studying Bhagavad Gita. Then I thought we will read this verse. Then we'll try to understand why we should study Bhagavad Gita. What is Krishna saying here? I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and luminous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Krishna is giving a promise. What is the promise? If you know this, what I'm telling, both phenomenal and luminous, if you understand this, there is nothing else to be known. Now, Krishna's promise is a real promise or is just giving a salesman's promise?
Krishna's promise.
is real or salesman promise?
Krishna.
Okay, now the question comes. If I study this, will I know artificial intelligence?
Every intelligence.
Will I know about LLM? Somebody might ask this question, huh? Is Krishna is telling by knowing this further,
Nothing,
right? Nothing shall be known.
nothing that is knowable should be.
So that's what our topic today is. What is this Krishna's promise means? Why one should study Bhagavad Gita? So, first of all, if we want to know anything, how do we learn things? What are the different ways we can learn?
Read, listen.
Reading,
Read, listen.
read,
Listen and read.
huh? We analyze,
Class.
huh?
Teach.
Classes.
Go to some class,
Experience.
experience,
By teaching.
Experience by self or looking at others.
experience one by oneself or looking at
Other
others.
people's experience.
Hmm? What else?
Like your teacher or you.
You accept a teacher or guru and you can learn from them. Yes, these are all correct. So, it is mentioned in the Vedic literature. There are many ways of knowing. Broadly, all these different ways of knowing are categorized into three categories. First, we can know directly by our perception. We have these five senses. They're called Jnanendriyas. Jnana means what? Knowledge. Indriya means what? Senses. Knowledge acquiring senses. That's what Jnanendriya means. By our eyes, what do we do? We see. By our nose, what we do? Smell. By our tongue, what do we do? Taste. By our ears, what we do?
Here.
Hear. By our skin, what do we do? Feel, touch. Right? These are five different ways we can experience various things in this world and understand. Right? I see there is a, there is a road here, there's a house here, that people are sitting in front of here. I heard some sound. Oh, some children are doing something there. Right? Like that. Through our senses, we can try to understand things. This is called Pratya Aksha Pramana. Pramana means evidence or knowledge. Pratya Aksha. Aksha means what?
Eyes.
Eyes. Like our eyes, through all the five senses, we can directly experience. Pratyaksha means through direct sense perception. We can get knowledge. Can we get all knowledge through direct sense perception? Huh?
No. They can be faulty.
Sometimes, in fact, it can be misleading also. Right? Right? Why?
Because senses are limited.
Senses are limited. Our sense has limitation through our eyes. Only through visible spectrum of light we can see. Right? Above ultraviolet and below infrared, the visible spectrum only we can see. Similarly, senses through hearing sound from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, only that audible range we can hear. Right? Similarly, we can tasting also we have limitation. Right? If you taste something very sour, right? After that, if you eat something, even if it's less sour, it will like taste sweet, right? Similarly, senses. After touching extremely cold, even something normal, if you touch it, you feel warm. It has limitation, right? In fact, we can sometimes mislead ourselves. We can see something in front of our eyes. For example, if I have a glass of water, and then I put a small pencil, a pencil. If I see from the glass, the pencil looks completely bent, right? Is the pencil bent? It looks deceiving, right? Because senses are limited, because when our senses are limited, we come under illusion. When we come under illusion, we mistake one thing to be something else. When we mistake one thing to be something else, when we commit mistake, does anybody want to accept mistake in this world? In general, nobody want to accept mistake. And they want to hide the mistake. To hide the mistake, they will cheat. These are the four faults in human beings. We have imperfect senses, we come under illusion, we commit mistake, and then we cheat. So this direct sense perception, it cannot get all knowledge. The second category of second way of getting knowledge, it is mentioned, is we can guess. By guessing, we can get knowledge. For example,
There is smoke, there is a fire.
yes, wherever there is smoke, wherever there is fire, there will be smoke, right? And then if you see a smoke in the mountain, we can guess that, oh, there is a fire, that's why the smoke is coming, right? So actually, this guessing is actually the special ability of the mind. Mind has the ability to speculate. How it speculates? It speculates based on one sense. It can do the function of another sense. That's how it guesses. For example, let's say I had never ever seen ice or snow, big body of snow. First time taken to Antarctica and just put there. See so much of ice, it's so cold, right? I say this, then after that I forgot. I went to Africa, Sakara. I never experienced snow and ice in life. Later, several years later, I am seeing a big block of a white mass, which looks like ice. So when I see that big block of ice, and then I enter into the room where this big block of ice is there, what do I see? Oh, that ice looks so cold. Huh? How can by seeing something, the ice looks so cold? Coldness is felt by our touch, right? Is it so or not? But I'm seeing a block of ice, I'm seeing, oh, that ice looks so cold. Just by seeing, I'm doing the function of the other sense. The touch without even touching it. I can see. I'm saying that just by seeing it, that ice looks so cold. Because in the past, I had an experience. something like the big block of ice. When I touched it, it was so cold. That experience is there in the mind. Now this time, I felt last time only by touching it, I felt the cold. This time, I have not even touched it by looking at it. I am doing the function of touching it. That is the special ability of the mind. It can speculate. It can do function of one sense with the help of another sense. This process of getting knowledge like this is called Anumana Pramana. Anumana Pramana. Through mental speculation, we try to get something. The third way of getting knowledge is asking somebody who is an expert in a particular field of knowledge and asking them what is what, making inquiry to that person, or getting a testimony from somebody who knows what is what, that particular domain. So that is called Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana. So these are broadly the three ways of getting knowledge. Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana, and Shabda Pramana. You might have heard this, the discovery of classes now. So the problem with Pratyaksha and Anumana is we can never get perfect knowledge. Because our senses are limited. We come under illusion, we commit mistake, and we cheat. We can never get perfect knowledge. Even Anumana Pramana, we can't get perfect knowledge because again we are dependent on the senses to validate. The only bona fide way of getting perfect knowledge is through Shabda Pramana. Shabda means actually sound. Sound means hearing testimony from an authority or making inquiry into a perfect body of knowledge, we can get perfect knowledge. If there is a perfect body of knowledge available, and if we make inquiry into that perfect body, what we can get? Perfect knowledge. Is there a perfect body of knowledge available? Is it available? What is it?
Shastra.
Huh? Vedas, Shastras. Vedas are the perfect body of knowledge. Because Vedas also has another name called Aparaushya. Aparaushya means what? Purusha means what?
Human.
Purusha means humans. Aparaushya means not of human origin. Vedas has another name. What is it called? Aparaushya. Aparaushya means not created or spoken by any human beings. Not of human source. Not of human origin. That's what Vedas are. Vedas are given by God Himself directly, revealed by Himself. How it was revealed to the first being in our universe. Who is the first being? Brahma. Brahma is the first being. He is the one created everything else afterwards in our universe. So Brahmaji, he is called Adi Kavi. Adi Kavi means what? The original knower. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma, Hridaya Adi Kavi Mukhyanti Yat Surya. Originally, in the beginning of creation, Brahma directly received this knowledge in his heart. How? Because in everyone's heart, who is there? Paramatma. So directly he received this knowledge. It got revealed to him in the heart by the Supreme Lord. That's how Brahmaji received first. Then he gave to his sons and his disciples and like that it was coming down. So Vedas are the perfect body of knowledge because it is given by the Lord himself. It is not created by any human being. Now, in the Vedas, there are broadly two categories of knowledge. Vedas can be broadly said there are categories of knowledge. You can see all of it. So one is called Shruti, another is called Smriti. Shruti means what is revealed. In the beginning, Krishna revealed to Brahma in his heart. Whatever is revealed, the words never change. It's eternally the same. That is called Shruti. Second category is called Smriti. Smriti means what is remembered. Whenever sages see some things happening in this world, they will try to understand something is happening in this world. They will try to understand why this is happening this way, why this particular event is happening. They try to understand the particular event or particular activity through the eyes of the scriptures. They try to understand because they all know, they all heard Shruti. Whatever they heard, the knowledge, whenever something is happening, they try to see that through the knowledge what they received by hearing. They try to see that and they try to understand how it goes. So when they understand something, those sages, they remember what they heard, and then what they heard from that memory, they try to understand how things are, and they explain, oh, this is happening because of this. So when they remembered and they try to understand activities in this world, if something happens, they try to understand that happening, that event, with what they remembered from the myth. Oh, this is the reason why this is happening like this. When they remember that knowledge and they write it down, that is called Smriti. So Smritis are generally composed by the sages based on what they remembered from the Shruti. Okay, understood? So the words over the period of can change. Shruti never changes, whereas Smriti can change. But the principle does not change. The words can change. Because the knowledge what they're explaining is based on what? Shruti. But it can be explained in different ways. The words can change, but the principle does not change. These are the two categories of knowledge. So in that Vedas, when we say Vedas, generally, the Shruti, again there are many categories. Vedas, Upavedas, Vedangas, like that many categories are there. Revealed knowledge. We all heard, right? Vedas, there are four. What are the four Vedas? Veda, Yajur, Sama, the Atharva Veda. Actually, originally Vedas there are only one. Yajur Veda. All Vedas are only one body of knowledge. In the previous ages, people had photographic memory. One time when they hear from the teacher, from the guru, they will never forget. Hence, there is no need to write down anything. People will hear from the guru, from the teacher. One time they hear, they will never forget. So hence, there is no need to write it down. So the whole body of knowledge is only one. But in the end of Dwapara Yuga, last Yuga, current Yuga is called Kali Yuga. In the previous Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, by end of the Dwapara Yuga, Vedavyas He foresaw. Veda Vyas is Trikala Jnani. He knows the past, present, and future. He foresaw in future. In Kali Yuga, people will have very short memory. They have very short life duration. They are always impatient. He saw in future, the Kali Yuga, people will have all these difficulties. They have less time, less memory, impatient. So then they will not be able to remember all the Vedas, get benefit from the Vedas. Hence, he wanted to organize the Vedas in a structural way, structured way. He divided the Vedas into 4 divisions. He divided the Vedas into 4 divisions. And he called as Rig, Yajur, Sam, and other Vedas. He appointed 4 of his disciples as professors of those Vedas, for those books. And within those Vedas, again, there are 4 categories of knowledge that are available. The first category is called Samhita. Samhita means prayers, glorifying various personalities. Prayers to glorify various personalities. That's called Samhita. Prayers to glorify Indra, Chandra, Vayu, Varna, Surya, Rudra, Brahma, Vishnu. Right? Various personalities. Prayers to glorify various personalities were there. That's called Samhitas. Generally, these Samhitas are studied when somebody is in student life. So, in the Vedic culture, our life is divided into 4 divisions: student life, family life, retired life, and renounced life. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. These are 4 stages in life. So, in the student life, generally, they study all the Vedas under a teacher, but specifically they focus on memorizing all the Samhitas. So then when they decide to enter into family life, graduate from the student life, they get married. And all the prayers they memorized, now they want to conduct worship. In order to conduct worship, they have to do various rituals. All those rituals are explained in the second category of knowledge called Brahmanas. You see that Samhitas, which has the mantras and the prayers. And second category is the Brahmanas, ritual explanation of the mantras. When somebody is in a Grihastha life, family life, he can conduct various rituals and worship using those mantras, various personalities. That is called Brahmanas. The third category of knowledge is called Aranyakas. Aranyakas. Aranyakas means, Aranya means what? Forest. Aranyaka means studied by people who are living in the forest. So after doing the family duties, after children have grown up, people will hand over the responsibility to next generation. They will retire. That retired stage of life is called Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means what? Forest dweller. In the Vanaprastha stage, what is studied is Aranyaka. Aranyaka. What they study? Hey, I memorized all those prayers in my student life. In my whole family life, I was doing various rituals and various pujas. What is the meaning of all those prayers, all the pujas I did? The esoteric the explanation of all the rituals and the mantras in the previous two stages of life. I learned that they try to understand the meaning behind it. So Vanaprastha means retired stage. Usually they travel to different holy places or they go into forest. They live very basic life. Whatever is available in the forest, they will set up an ashram. And then they hear from sages. Try to understand the meaning behind the esoteric meaning of all the rituals and all the mantras, what I did in the previous stages of life. When sufficiently they mature, trying to understand, they realize that the cause for all those things, misunderstanding in this world is because of my attachment to things. Now I have to renounce all my attachments. The fourth stage of life is called renounced order of life or sannyasa life. In the sannyas stage, when that person is not attached to anything particularly material, then they can try to understand the actual meaning of all the things what I did. That is coming from Upanishads. Upanishads gives the philosophical conclusion for all the mantras, all the worship, and all the search I have been doing. So the Upanishads gives the philosophical conclusion for all the search. So that is studied usually when somebody is in a sannyas stage, renounced sort of life, when they are not attached anymore to material things. In that stage, they can understand things as they are. There is no hidden agenda, there is no special interest. When they are not attached to anything material, they will understand things. So that philosophical conclusion to all the search is revealed in the Upanishads. So these Vedas, as I said, it was divided into 4 divisions. 4 professors have been appointed. Under those 4 professors, again, there are many students. Under those many students, many sub-students. Like that, there are different sects or schools got formed. So totally, in the 4 Vedas, 1131 subdivisions got formed over a period of time. And each one of the school had their own Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishad. So in the Rig Veda, there are 21 sakas. And in the Yajurveda, it's 101 or something like that. And Samaveda, 1000. Like that, totally 1131 divisions over the period of time. Sakas. It's called Saka means subdivision. Got formed. So same Vedas, the Brahmanas, the Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, all the 4 will be there. So if you have to understand the conclusion of all this Upanishads, one has to study. Then one can get the conclusion of all the Vedic knowledge. Again, in order to study these Vedas from the student life itself, the Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and the Upanishads, before studying the Vedas, one has to study the Vedanta. Vedanta contains 6. They are called Kalpa, Shiksha, Vyakarana, Nirukti, and Jyotisha. The 6 divisions. The chandas are the meters, right? Shiksha is pronunciation of the mantra, how to pronounce the mantras properly. And Vyakarana is grammar, dividing the words into divisions. Nirukti means etymology of the words. And Chandas means meters, rhythm and meters. And Jyotisha is calculation of time. And Kalpas means ritual sutras, mathematical formulas. Because in the Brahmanical, the second stage of life, and he has to conduct various worships and yajnas, he has to construct a yajna an altar, fire sacrifice altar, that has to be constructed mathematically, a precise measurement. The fire pit, the fire thing they create, it has to be done with mathematical formulas. That's all explained in the kalpas. And then how to pronounce the mantra, that is there, the shiksha. And then how to understand the meaning of this mantra, that means all these mantras in Sanskrit, all the words, if you want to understand the meaning of the words, each word has to be broken down into the roots. From the root, once you know the root of the words, you can understand the meaning. So that all the roots is called etymology or nirukti or nirukta. How to divide the words, that is vyakarana. And the meters in which, the rhythm in which one has to chant, that's all in chandas. And then while conducting all this worship, it has to be done at a proper time, proper place. For that, you need to know the movement of the sun, the calculation of time. For that, one need to know Jyotisha. So, before studying the Vedas, one has to study the Vedangas. For example, the Vyakarana alone, it takes 12 years. The grammar study alone, it will take 12 years for somebody to study. So, without the Vedangas, one cannot study the Vedas. Anga means what? Part, limbs. Without the parts, there's no body, right? If you want to study the Vedas, one has to study the Vedangas. Like that, after studying all the Vedangas, after studying the Vedas, starting from Brahmanas and Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads, finally, right, the renowned sort of life, one can try to understand the meaning behind philosophical conclusion. Sometimes it might take several lifetimes. You guys may not take birth again and again and again to understand the meaning of all these things. So Upanishads gives the concluding portion of the Vedas. That is why Upanishad is called Vedanta. Veda means actually literally knowledge. The word Veda comes from the root dhatu, with. With means to know. In Sanskrit, with means to know. The word Veda comes from with. Vidya also comes from with. Vidya means knowledge. Vedas also means knowledge. So the concluding portion of the Vedas is there by Upanishads. That's why it's called Veda Anta. Anta means what? End or conclusion. The concluding portion of Vedas are there in Upanishads. The philosophical conclusion for all the studies and all the prayers, all the mantras, all the rituals is there in Upanishads. How many schools are there in the Vedas? The 4 divisions of the Vedas? 1131. So there are 1131 Upanishads were there. 1131 Samhitas, 1131. Corresponding to every Samhita, there will be a Brahmana. Corresponding to every Brahmana, there will be a Aranyaka. Corresponding to every Aranyaka, there will be a Upanishad. So there is total 1131 Samhitas, 1131 Upanishads, Brahmanas, 1131 Aranyakas, 1131 Upanishads. One, if he studies all these things properly, one can come to a conclusion. What is what? And before studying all these things, one has to study the Vedantas. And Vedantas, the Vyakarana alone takes 12 years to study. Now, even if you have the time and energy and capability to study all of them, after going through all the Vedangas and studying the Vedas, even if you are ready to do, unfortunately, more than 95% of the Vedas are lost. Very little Samhitas and very little. Not all of them are available. So, we will not have any hope. What to do?
Wait for his Krishna's next birth, Kalki Avatar.
Well, until then, that Kalki Avatar is like another. Kali Yuga is what? 432,000 years. Only 5,000 years can come. Are you going to wait for 4,27,000 years? You are going to wait for Kalki to come?
Until when other law goes beyond certain limit, he will come again.
That's what it is mentioned. That is by end of Kali Yuga.
Bro, now itself we are seeing lot.
So, the essence of all the Upanishads, there is one Upanishad. Essence of all the Vedas is there where? In the Upanishads. The essence of all the Upanishads is there in one Upanishad. If you study that one Upanishad, you can understand all the essence of all the Upanishads, which is essence of all the Vedas. Do you want to know what the Upanishad is? It's called Gita Upanishad. That is why Shankaracharya, the great Shankaracharya, in the Gita Mahatmya, 7 verses, he wrote glorifying Bhagavad Gita. 7 verses he wrote in glorification of Bhagavad Gita. Oh, that's my house.
It's there.
See here. So these are Gita Mahatmya, 7. Sorry. Gita Mahatmya is given. There are 7 verses glorifying Bhagavad Gita. In that, one of them is telling Sarva Upanishada Gavo Dokta Gopala Nandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhauta Duktam Gita Amritam Mahat. If you consider all the Upanishads to be a cow, Sarva Upanishada Gavo. If you consider all the Upanishads to be a cow, why people generally keep cows? To get milk. If you have to get milk out of the cow, what do you need? When will the cow will release milk? 2 things. If you want to get milk out of the cow, 2 things are needed: a calf. When the calf goes and drinks, the cow will release the milk. After calf drinks, the excess milk, to take out of the milk, you need a cowherd man to milk the cow. Right? Then you can get milk. If you consider all the Upanishad to be a cow, right? This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, is the essence of all Upanishad, just like a cow. Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, he is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf. And learned the scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is milking all the Upanishads. Who is drinking it? Arjuna. After Arjuna drank the excess, who is drinking? All the great sages and devotees. What is coming out of? And Krishna is milking this Upanishads. What is coming out? Gita Amritam, the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. The essence of the cow is to give milk. The essence of all Upanishad is what?
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is taking all the essence of all the Upanishads, milking this cow of Upanishads and giving it what? Gita Amritam. That is what Bhagavad Gita is. So, if one is fortunate enough to study Bhagavad Gita and understand it properly, you will get essence of all the Upanishads, which is the essence of all the Vedas. That is why the verse we studied today, Krishna is telling Arjuna, whatever knowledge I am giving, if you understand it properly, both phenomena and luminous, there is nothing else to be known. After saying this, in 7.2, what we studied, in 7.3, Krishna says, Manusyanam Sarasveshu, Kaschit Yati Siddhaye, Yadatam Api Siddhana, Kaschin Mam Vedi Tatvataka. Out of thousands among 1%, out of thousands of men, hardly 1% is trying to achieve perfection. Out of thousands of people who is trying to achieve perfection, hardly one comes to the stage of perfection. Out of thousands of people who perfected, hardly one knows me in truth. Manusyanam Sagasreshu Kaschin Yadati Siddhaye Yadatam Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataka. After that, 7.4 is giving Bhumirapo Analo Vayu Kammano Buddhirevacha Agamkaram Itiyam Me Binna Prakriti Ashtada. Krishna is telling earth, water, fire, air, and space. And mind, intelligence, and false ego. These 8 elements are my separated material energy. Pinda, Prakriti, Ashtada. This material energy, which is made up of these 8 elements, is my separated energy. Pinda, Prakriti. This is what the phenomenal. What is phenomenal means? Knowledge of this world. Knowledge within our experience. That's called phenomenal knowledge. This world is called phenomenal world. What we experience this through our experience, that's called phenomenal world. So the knowledge of this world, right, is called phenomenal knowledge. What is the basis for all the knowledge, all the things in this world? These 8 elements. Bhumi, Bhumi Rapo Analo Vayu Kampano Buddhi Revacha Agamkara Piti Prakriti. Air, water, fire, air, and space, mind, intelligence, and false ego. This 8 constitutes my separated material energy. That's what the phenomenal world is made up of. Apart from this, the knowledge beyond this world, the knowledge beyond our experience, the knowledge beyond our experience, knowledge of the spiritual world, that is called luminous knowledge. Transcendental knowledge, knowledge beyond our capacity. Luminous. Krishna is telling in the next verse, in 7.5, Apareya Mitasvanyam Prakriti Viti Me Param Jiva Bhuta Mahabhavo Yayedam Dharite Jagat. Apart from this material energy, there is another superior energy of mind. All the jivas are made up of this. Actually, they're trying to exploit the material nature. That is my Paraprakriti, superior energy. The living entities are made up of this spiritual energy. And living in this material world, they're trying to exploit the material nature. So in this world, again, there are two things: matter and spirit. Krishna gave all the matters are based on these 8 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space, and mind, intelligence, and false ego. Apart from this, in this world, what we see, this world, what we see? Two types of things: sentient, non-sentient, material and spirit, living and non-living things. All the non-living things are made up of what? Matter, these 8 elements. Apart from the living entity, is made up of this spirit. That's superior energy, Jiva. So Krishna is like that, giving the seed for all things to be known. If you understand this too properly, there's nothing else to be known. Krishna is giving seed for all the knowledge in the 7th chapter. Of course, later also he explains further. But the seed, what Krishna promised in Bhagavad Gita, it gets fructified and flowers in Srimad Bhagavatam. If you want to know all this knowledge, what Krishna is had given the seed form, if you want to know in full detail, one should study Srimad Bhagavatam. If you want to know understand how the whole material creation came into existence, you should study a great canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Kapil Muni explains to his mother Devavati. It's called Bhagvada Sankhya. How from the sound came the space, from the space came all the other elements. Like that. So whatever Krishna gave the promise, it's not a false promise. In Bhagavad Gita, he's giving in seed form. Because he had only very less time to teach the battlefield. Krishna just gave the summary. And Arjuna was a top student, he grasped it. And for us, it's a little difficult. So if you want to know more, in elaborate, in Bhagavatam you should study. Bhagavatam went for 7 days and 7 nights. Gita is only 700 shlokas. Krishna spoke in 45 minutes. Bhagavatam is 18,000 shlokas. It went on for 7 days and 7 nights. Spoken by Sukadeva Goswami to Parashit Maharaj, the grandson of Arjuna. So the promise given by Krishna is fulfilled again in Srimad Bhagavatam in detail. So if one studies Bhagavad Gita properly under a bona fide spiritual master, Krishna also tells in the 4th chapter, right? 32nd verse. How to get this knowledge, how to receive this knowledge. Tatvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshanti tenana naninas tattva darshanaga. One should approach a bona fide spiritual master and surrender to him. Why? Surrender means actually to serve. In the mood of service, one should make relevant inquiry. Pariprashnena. If the spiritual master sees that the disciple has this surrendered, and he has the service attitude, then he will bless him with the knowledge. How he can give the knowledge? Because he already received it from his Guru. Tattva Darshini. He had seen the truth. He already received it. He already realized it. Because he received from his Guru, he can give the knowledge to his disciple. So that's what bona fide Guru means. Bona fide spiritual master means. Before he becomes Guru, what he should be? He should be a disciple first. Like that Guru disciple succession. You should be able to trace all the way back to Krishna. Then only we know that the lineage is bona fide. That's why Krishna is telling in the 4th chapter again. Evam parampara praptam imam praji rishyo vriga sakalina bhagata yoga nashta parantapa. Arjuna, this knowledge originally spoke to sun god Bhagashwan. Vivaswan spoke to his son Manu. Manu spoke to his son Ikshwaku. Ikshwaku spoke to his son. Like that, it was coming in a disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam. Evam Rajarishudha. All the great saintly kings received in that way the disciplic succession. Over the period of time, due to time factor, somehow the disciplic succession got broken. When the disciplic succession is broken, knowledge appears to be lost. Knowledge is never lost. It appears to be lost. Oh Arjuna, I am again here to speak that same knowledge. What I spoke to Sun God in the beginning of creation. Vivaswan. I am again, because that over the period of time, the disciplic succession is broken. I have chosen you to again speak the same knowledge to re-establish that disciplic succession. Why I chose you? Because you are my friend and a devotee. Devotee means what? Willing to surrender and listen. Friend means what? No envy. Because you are not envious of me, because you are willing to listen from me, because you are surrendering to me and you are willing to listen to me, this is the qualification. If you want to understand all this knowledge, one should be not envious of Krishna. One should be surrendered, willing to accept what Krishna is telling, like Arjuna. So this true qualification, if somebody has, through a bona fide spiritual master, if you study the Bhagavad Gita, the entire knowledge of the Vedas can be understood in the 700 verses. And Krishna is giving the promise. By knowing this, there is nothing else to be known. If you want to study this knowledge in detail, you should study Srimad Bhagavatam. So now the class begins. Until now, what I gave is the background. Why we should study Bhagavad Gita? Why we should study Bhagavad Gita? Study Bhagavad Gita properly and understand all knowledge, all the things which has to be known will be known. So Prabhuji asked me the question, right? Asked me to give a class. Why one should study Bhagavad Gita? Now we all understand why we should study Bhagavad Gita. Why we should study Bhagavad Gita? If we want to conclude all the search for all the knowledge, one should study Bhagavad Gita. Sarva Upanishadagavo, Tukta Gopal Nandana, Partso Vantas Bhagavata, Tuktam Gita Maga. This is the verdict of Shankaracharya. Right? Because all the Upanishads, all the Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, they're all lost. What is available? Preserved. For us, is Bhagavad Gita is available. Srila Prabhupada was kind enough, out of compassion for the living entities suffering in this world. He translated this in English without going through years and years of study of Vedangas, grammars and meters and Nirukri and Chandas and Shiksha and all of them. Prabhupada is kind enough to translate this in English as it is. As it is, he had given. As Krishna spoke, he had given as it is. As it is understood in the parampara. That's why in the beginning of introduction to Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada writes, right? Which parampara he belongs to. This Bhagavad Gita, as it is received through this disciplic section. From Krishna, Brahma received it. From Brahma, Narada Muni. From Narada Muni, Vyasadev. From Vyasadev, Madhva. From Madhva, Padmanabha, Narahari, Madhava, Akshobhya, Jayatirtha, Jnana Sindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi, Rajendra, Jayadharma, Purushottama, Brahmanya Tirtha, Vyasa Tirtha, Lakshmipadi, Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, Lord Chaitanya, Srila Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Jeva Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Narottama Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushana, and Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Abhay Chandra with the Bhakti Vedas Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is telling that I am receiving this knowledge in this specific session. So that you know what you are receiving is bona fide, is as it is. That's why Prabhupada's name is Bhagavad Gita as it is. If you want to understand the purpose of existence, why this world is there, why I'm here, even though we are all searching for only happiness, invariably comes what? Misery. Why there is suffering exist in this world? Does God really exist? How do I know about God? All these inquiries, you can come to a conclusion if you study Bhagavad Gita and then a bona fide spiritual master. Systematically, if you study in the 700 verses, everything which has to be known. So that's why we should study Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Any comments? Any questions? At this time?
One question.
Yes.
So, you said Vyakarana is also part of Vedanta, which is Shruti, right? But Vyakarana is also written by Panini, they say, right? So that's Shruti or Smriti. If something is written from the remembrance, it is.
Vyakarana, only Panini is not the only one wrote. There are so many people who have written Vyakarana, including Brahma, Indra, Hanumanji. The most recent one is written by Panini. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
But the original grammar came from who?
Vishnu.
As it is from
Of course, everything in the source is Krishna.
Yeah.
And Lord Shiva, he did do the Dumuru. From the drum came the original grammar.
Yeah.
Sanskrit came. Dumuru
Yeah.
of Lord Shiva.
so then it became part of Vedangas.
This whole category. In order to study the Vedas, you need to have the Vedanga. You can't know the body if you don't know the parts of the body. So these are necessary to study the Vedas. Okay? Yes, Prabhu.
So previous knowledge is last, right? Then Krishna told to Arjuna, then that order should be there, right? But the order is different here than the one you showed.
So here, Vyasa. So that Krishna, whatever he established to Arjuna, that conversation recorded by who?
Yes.
Vyasadeva. From Vyasadeva, then Madhvacharya received it.
Okay. So the first should be Krishna, then Vasudev, then it should be that. But you mentioned
No, originally Krishna spoke to Brahma. Brahma spoke to what? Who?
Yes.
yes.
Narada.
Narada Muni. Narada Muni spoke to Vyasadeva. So this knowledge was available. Through Vyasadeva, it was available already. But for the saintly kings, it was not available. Then Krishna has to speak again to Arjuna. Got it? So there are many lineages are there, many schools, many subdivisions are there. And it is lost. It is not completely lost. Some people had it, but it was not prominent. It was not known to all the kings. If the king doesn't know, then all the subjects will not know. If the king knows, then all the subjects in the kingdom will know. Okay?
So,
Yes.
so Veda Vyas divided this into different
Four divisions.
Four divisions, and they gave.
And then whatever the original Veda called Yajur Veda, she took out one portion, went as Another portion, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. And whatever is left, all the stories, all the past incidents, he wrote it as Puranas and Idihasas. That become the Smriti. So that's why if you see the thing what I have, right? The Smriti, right? Yeah. There are Puranas, 18 major, 18 minor Purana, and Itihasas, Ramayana and Mahabharata, right? Even the Shatdarshanas. So if you do want to understand this one slide, one chart, it will take like months. If you want to go in detail, go to all these things, what is all. It will take months to know.
For the Yajurveda, I think he assigns it to Vaishampayana, right?
Yes.
So who are the other for it?
Jaimini, Angira, and Jaimini, Angiras, Vaishampayana. No, Vaishampayana is for the Puranas.
Yajurveda.
No. I'll tell you. After the Vedas are divided into four divisions, Paidarishi became the professor of the Rig Veda. Jaimini became the professor of Samaveda, and Vaishampayana alone became the Yajurveda, and Sumantumuni Angira become for Atharva Veda. These are the four professors appointed. Four disciples appointed. Why?
Jain is also for astrology.
Yeah.
Is it the same?
Same person.
Prabhu, do we have to really bother about the Vedas in the present day?
That's what it's not available even if you want to bother.
Yeah, that's what.
Even if you want to bother, it's not available.
I think
That is why Jiva Goswami and Chandra Das, the Prasudha establishes that only you have to depend on
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad. Bhagavad Gita is there only in the seed form. If you want the proper full detail, you have to study Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is the perfect body of knowledge available which concludes everything. Which gives you everything. You have to know.
So this Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda, these are like
They are
subdivisions.
subdivision.
So
Yajurveda contains two divisions. Krishna and Shukla.
So like that for each Veda we have subdivisions and that's
And
what
many subdivisions, as I said, many subdivisions they are called shakas. There are totally 1131 shakas are there. And they will tell you what exactly. Yeah. 1131. Right? Rig Veda 21, Yajur Veda 101, Samaveda 1000, and Atharva Veda 9. So sub schools, divisions.
ISKCON Gaudiya Vaishnavism follows Samaveda. Samaveda, they
Yeah.
thought that maybe
I think so. I don't know.
because
Actually, that is for people coming in that family lineage to study. Our parampara is little different. Bhagavad parampara is little different. Probably somewhere. Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, we conclude. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.